Coming up next on Parent Connection, an interview with Tammy Turner, Marketing and Community Relations Manager for Annapolis Pediatrics. Welcome to Parent Connection. I'm Ann Weaver from the School and Family Partnerships Office. Our goal here in School and Family Partnerships is to support high student achievement for all of our students in Anne Arundel County Public Schools. How do we do that? Well, first, we try to connect schools and families so that families better understand what their children are learning in school and how they can support that learning at home. Not only do we talk about how they can support academic achievement with things like monitoring homework, reading to and with children every day, and of course trips to the library, but also parenting skills so that their children arrive at school physically, socially, and emotionally healthy and ready to learn. In addition to ensuring good two-way communication between families and schools, we also work with local community organizations and businesses who support schools in a variety of ways. Some community organizations work with schools directly, doing things like mentoring, tutoring, supporting a weekend food program, and so on. And other community organizations and businesses provide direct support to families, doing things like workshops, information sessions, so that parents know how to make sure that their children are healthy and ready to learn. Today, we're pleased to welcome a guest who represents one of those latter kinds of community organizations. I'd like to introduce Tammy Turner, who is Community Relations and Marketing Director for Annapolis Pediatrics. Welcome, Tammy.
Thanks for having me.
Well, thanks for taking time out of your busy day. I know you have a lot to do.
That's awesome, no worries.
Tell us a little bit about Annapolis Pediatrics, when it began, where your offices are, and so on.
Sure. So Annapolis Pediatrics has been around for quite a while. We actually started in 1948 and started as a small practice with Dr. Briscoe was the original practitioner who started the practice. Since then, we've grown. We now have 4 offices throughout Anne Arundel and Queen Anne's County, and we provide health care for families throughout the stages of their child's life, from birth all the way up to about 21 years old.
And where are the practices located?
So we have an office in Annapolis, right across from the Naval Academy, the stadium. We have an office in Crofton, down on Route 3. We have another office in Severna Park, which is off of B&A and Route 2. And then we have our other office over the bridge in Kent Island. And we're really, really excited that we'll be opening our 5th office later this year, beginning of June, probably in South County in Edgewater.
It sounds like a huge practice.
It's a big practice. Actually, we are one of the biggest practices, well, we are the biggest practice in Maryland, and definitely in Anne Arundel County. We are thrilled that we are able to help so many families.
How many providers do you have?
So we have 30 providers, and those are pediatricians as well as certified pediatric nurse practitioners.
And you were telling me earlier about your email list. How many families are on that?
So one of my jobs is to do communication and do outreach to our families. And one of the methods that we do that is through email. And on our email, just our email distribution list, we have over 11,000 on that list. In addition, we communicate with our families through social media. We do Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram. So we are trying to always sort of make sure we're able to keep in touch with our families, the ways that they communicate. We've just, our coolest new feature is that we just started offering text messaging and email appointment reminders just as another way to make sure that families are in the know and figure out, what's going on with them.
I know that makes such a huge difference to me when I get, my dentist does the same thing, the reminders, my physical therapist does the same thing. And, I know it's on the calendar, but when I get a text message or a phone call,
Yeah.
then I know I've got the time right.
Exactly.
It really makes a huge difference.
Yes, we're excited that we're offering that service to our families now.
Good. And someone recently told me that they are of their family or patients at Annapolis Pediatrics, and that one thing they really like about it is that your hours are, you have so many extended hours and talk a little bit about that.
Absolutely. So the thing, our bottom line is that we're trying to make things as convenient for everyone as possible, and we live in a very busy world. So we are open 7 days a week. Our Annapolis office is open on weekends. We do walk-in sick appointments, which our families love, that you don't have to have an appointment if your son or daughter's not feeling well.
Get sick in the middle of the night. Or,
you can just come right in, and first thing in the morning, we have that offered in Annapolis for an hour every morning, and that they're able to be seen quickly and then be able to move on with the day. So yes, we're happy to offer that. We also have a triage service, which is if you're not sure if your son or daughter, you call, like you said, during the day or in the evening, you're not sure if they need to come in for an appointment. You're just not sure. We have nurses that answer the phones that are able to talk with our families and kind of feel out whether or not they need to come in and be seen.
Great.
Yeah.
When I think of pediatric practices, I think of, baby visits, immunizations, what to do when your child is sick, and so on, the medical part of it.
Right.
But I know that Annapolis Pediatrics also does an extensive outreach program, and you've talked a little bit about communicating with families through email and Twitter and Facebook and so on. But I know you also do classes and workshops,
Yes.
nutrition topics and so on. Can you talk a little bit about that?
Sure. So we, as a practice, realized a while ago that we need to do more than just be there for you when you need your immunizations, when you need physical, appointments, all that kind of stuff. We realized that we needed to go out and do a little bit more education and outreach and look at families while they're well as when they're sick. So we started back in 2012 with a nutrition initiative. That was our, first push. We, as a practice, decided we wanted to do more outreach and more education, and tell our families how they could help their families and kids live healthier lives through nutrition. So we started with that back in 2012. We offer workshops to parents, workshops to kids in our practice, and then we've even gone to the schools and been able to offer some classes for them as well.
Can you talk a little bit about specific topics that you do?
Let's see, let's go with parents first.
Okay.
When parents are raising their younger children, we've discovered there's a certain stage of their child's life where they hit becoming a picky eater.
Oh, I remember that.
Okay, so it is this stage probably from about 18 months to about 4 years old. Time and time again, our practitioners have heard families come in and just be like, oh, my son was such a good eater, and then he hit, a year and a half and 2, and now he's refusing everything. So we developed a workshop for those parents, and we offer it 3 times a year. It fills up within hours of it being announced, where we have a provider who comes and talks to the families, parents, about survival skills. It's called Nutritional Survival Skills for the 18-month to 4-year-old. And it's really talking about, these themes that parents have, struggles that they have with their kids, and some methods to help them. Bottom line is that it's going to get better. They're going to get through it, and that so the providers just kind of share their own personal stories from their own kids, from different patients that they've seen. So that's one area where we've helped kind of educate parents of younger kids to kind of get through that stage. We also, for the younger kids, we go out and do a Taste the Rainbow class to preschools.
Nice.
That's probably one of the best parts of my job is to be able to go out and share with these little ones, 2 and 3 and 4-year-olds, the fun of eating different types of
Something
fruits.
different, right.
Different types of fruits and vegetables. So we offer that class, as I said, to preschool. We go and have them taste 3 different fruits, 3 different vegetables, and have it be different colors. And we talk about the colors and kind of relate all that and have them try things. And even their preschool teachers or the parents that are in the class are like, oh, my son's not going to try that, and then are thrilled when they see them actually sample something, different. So that's fun. That's a really fun class that we offer. And then for the older kids, the class that we've started really making a lot of headway with are a series of 5 workshops that we offer to 5th graders. And we've gone out to several elementary schools where we've provided this class to the 5th grade. And great response, great feedback. These are kids, you hit that when you're about 10, you're starting to make some decisions on your own.
Right.
Without.
And you're changing physically.
Exactly.
And, yeah.
Exactly. So, we really try and help share the information with them that they can make some decisions at this stage of the game that's going to affect their health and well-being for the rest of their life. One of the classes is a series of 5. One is talking about reading food labels and how important that is. And I brought a couple little props for that. One, when we read food labels, one of the things that we talk about is sugar that's in a lot of products. And one of the props that we show the kids is don't drink your calories. And when you drink a beverage like this, it has this much sugar in it. So this is 65 grams of sugar. That is 28 sugar cubes. And that's how much sugar would be. And even kids, who are 10 are like, oh, I love sugar. They see this and they're like, that's disgusting. I would never sit.
Yeah, that's a great visual.
And then the other one, a lot of kids play sports, and we talk to them and we talk to their parents about sports beverages and, do you really need to drink that after you play soccer for an hour? And the answer is no. That if you look at the nutrition label on a sports drink, it actually contains sugar as well. It has this size has 35 grams of sugar, which would be 15 sugar cubes. That's just added that you don't need, right? Right. So our biggest information that we share with parents is water. Water is great. Drink as much water as you can, unless you are training for an Olympic sort of sport, you won't sweat enough to need anything
other than that.
Right.
You said you do these workshops in schools.
Yeah.
If a school is interested in having you come out, how do they contact you?
Oh, they could definitely email me.
Okay.
And I can share that with.
Okay. Okay.
So my email is tturner, Turner, at Anna, ANNA, PEDS.com.
Terrific.
So
that's wonderful.
Yeah, absolutely. We are happy to go out to the schools and provide this information. We don't charge for anything but the materials that we share with the students. So as I said, one of the workshops we share with the 5th grade is the reading a food label. We also talk about portion size because we as a culture have sort of a distorted view of what
how much we need to eat, right?
So we share with them sort of what accurate portions are of different foods, lots of visuals, lots of back and forth discussion, and then we also do an eating out class. So talking about making healthier choices when you're going out to
restaurants, fast food places,
absolutely,
and so on.
Because that's part of our world too, Then we discuss calories in and calories out. So it's, sort of balancing what you're taking in with what you're exerting and sort of finding that good place to be. And then the other one, the final one, which is the class favorite is the sampling we do for the older kids, like we do for the younger kids, the sampling of healthy snacks.
Of course, when they get to eat, it's always a great,
that's
a
like
great time.
the absolute favorite.
Well,
of all
that
the
sounds
kids.
wonderful. We need to take a quick break, and when we come back, we'll talk about the other part of your practice as well as your partnership with Anne Arundel County Public
Great.
Schools. Thank you.
Welcome to Anne Arundel County Public Schools' annual Hispanic Women's Day. This event was created in 2012 to honor and recognize the dedication of Hispanic mothers and their support of the school system. The purpose of the event is to educate and inspire Hispanic women to take better care of themselves in order to provide better care for their children and families. The event theme is Un Día para Mí, or A Day Just for Me, in which we partner with other county departments and community organizations. Participants will have the opportunity to hear from speakers on various topics, including empowerment, health and disease prevention, positive parenting, stress relief, amongst others. On behalf of the Planning Committee, we'd like to take this time to thank you for watching and learning about this wonderful event. To learn more about how you can get involved with Un Día para Mí, please see our contact information and link on the screen.
Welcome back to Parent Connection. I'm Ann Weaver from the School and Family Partnerships Office, and today I'm talking with Tammy Turner, Community Relations and Marketing Manager for Annapolis Pediatrics. Thank you for joining us today.
Thanks for having me.
Well, in the first part of our show, we talked about Annapolis Pediatrics practice and some of the outreach you do in the community.
Right.
There's another feature of your practice that I find really interesting. You have a new developmental pediatrician. Tell us a little bit about what she does and why she joined your practice.
Sure. So this is a new thing that we are now offering to our families. We had started in July. We hired a developmental behavioral pediatrician, and that's a fancy title for someone who specializes in behaviors such as anxiety, depression, ADHD, those sorts of issues, and she's certified, trained as that type of pediatrician. You know, I'm sure in your viewing of kids and being with families, one of the biggest areas that we've seen as a society is a lot more anxiety and stress and, you know, that sort of those behavioral issues for our kids. And it's, you know, scary, and we want to figure out as a practice how we can help. So in July, we sort of developed a new program at our practice for our families where we are doing that sort of treatment and intervention and assistance.
You know, I think it makes such a difference to families. I mean, not only your classes, I was thinking as you were talking about that you know, parents constantly need reassurance that they're doing the right thing, or they need a few tips that they can put in their toolbox that they can pull out and use with their children, because you know, there's no manual for how to raise children. No class parents can take and, you know, all of a sudden you're an expert. You know, you constantly are up against questions and struggles. And to have services like this, I think, is really, really helpful. And I know when my son was growing up, we consulted a developmental pediatrician at one point when he was in high school. It made a huge difference. I mean, we just kind of came out of there with a sigh of relief that, okay, we're on the right track. You know, and it really made a huge difference. And I know you also offer some classes around these topics.
Right. So in addition, so Dr. Richter is our developmental behavioral pediatrician. So on her team, she also has two nurse practitioners, and that's Erin Murley and Amy Landis, and they as a team are working with our families. One of the things that we sort of identified as a constant concern or question is sort of a mixture of the nutrition and the behavioral issues is eating and body image, especially for our preteens. We've had several families ask us, you know, sort of advice and wanting assistance with that. So we developed a class for parents to talk about that, to talk about, you know, what's normal on both ends of the spectrum. You know, if your kid's not eating enough or if they're eating too much, and then how they perceive themselves, you know, from a mental, social, emotional standpoint. So we offered that last year. We're doing that class again for our families in March of this year.
And I'm sure it's very popular.
Oh, it's very popular, yeah.
I can imagine.
Yeah.
The other thing that we have just begun is a wonderful partnership between our office, School and Family Partnerships, and your Annapolis Pediatrics. And this last fall, at our Family Involvement Conference, you all provided several workshops, breakout sessions for us, which were very well attended, and we're so excited to have had you and hope we can continue that in the future. Tell us a little bit about what the topics were and who presented.
Sure. So we were thrilled to be a part of that. We were so glad that we were able to help be a part of that this past year. So one of the presenters was Dr. Richter, and she did a session on ADHD, which is attention deficit
Active disorder.
Thank you. So she did a presentation on that and talked about behavior strategies throughout the day and offered that class workshop to parents.
And that's a topic that when we have family involvement conferences, we always ask attendees to fill out an evaluation and to tell us not only about their opinions about the workshops they saw that day, but what else would you like to see at future conferences, and that is one that always comes up. And not only how do you identify a child who has ADHD or ADD, but also how do you live with that child at home? You know, what can you do so that you have positive behavior interactions with that child?
Yeah, and Dr. Richter was thrilled to be able to present that class and help, you know, additional parents with some of those strategies. The other class that we did was Erin Murley, one of our nurse practitioners, offered the Stress Busters class, and that was the through ages and stages. So that kind of went through different periods of a child's life and how to help them deal with stress. And I know that class was so popular. She had people out the door
only.
coming to that.
Exactly.
So,
Because again, I think, you know, parents, anxiety and stress are such big issues right now, and you know, we find children who, you know, have physical symptoms because of their anxiety and their stress and have a hard time focusing, and so that's another topic that's always really popular with families. And they were really able to cover preschool through high school, which I think was really appealing to our families.
Absolutely, for all those different stages of life, because it's different at different times. But definitely, I agree. I think, as we both have said, anxiety and stress are, you know, things that unfortunately we have to deal with.
Absolutely.
And how can we best help our kids cope with those sorts of things?
And become more resilient.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely. The other workshop that we offered at the Family Involvement Conference was the portion size and eating out. We offered the nutritional aspect as well. And that was great to talk to parents and share with them these same little tricks and techniques that we share with the kids in the schools.
Other workshop, and we're really hoping that as we plan future family involvement conferences, you'll still be a partner with us, because I think it's a really valuable partnership to tap into your expertise to share that information with our families. And if our viewers have any workshops that they would like to see offered at our conferences, please feel free to contact me. My email address is aweaver1@aacps.org. We would love to have your feedback about topics that you'd like to see at future family involvement conferences. And I know you also, in addition to the partnership you have with our office, you also have other partnerships. You've talked a little bit about doing workshops in schools, and talk a little bit also about the one with food and nutrition services.
Oh, sure. So we've been thrilled to be able to work with the food and nutrition services. I met Jody Rissy through the Healthy Anne Arundel Coalition, so we serve on that joint venture as well, trying to help deal with obesity prevention. So she and I met through that little subcommittee. We also partner with Annapolis Pediatrics, partners with the other aspect of the Healthy Anne Arundel Coalition, which is the co-occurring committee, which deals with people who are struggling with substance abuse and mental illness. So we try and make sure that we are aware of everything countywide that's going on to help families so that we can share that information with them, partner with other organizations, and then all work together to try and help our families be as healthy and happy as possible.
It's a interesting difference in approach. You know, as I started out by saying, when we think of pediatric practices, we think of well baby visits, immunizations, and what to do when your child is sick, but this really takes the focus to how to live a more healthy lifestyle so that you're not getting sick.
Right.
You know,
yeah, we totally. We are in the mindset that, you know, the more we can educate and support and communicate with our families, the healthier and the better off they're going to be. That's the end goal.
Yeah.
You know?
And I noticed looking at your website that you have a whole host of website resources. Can you tell us a little bit about that?
And I'm thrilled to say
anybody can access.
Absolutely. So AnnapolisPediatrics.com is our website. We are excited that we are going to be tweaking our website a little bit and making it even more user friendly. But right now you can.
It was pretty user friendly.
Okay, great. Right. We're going to be updating it so it's going to be more friendly on all devices. So if you're on your iPad, right now it's a little trickier to use if you're on your phone or your iPad. So we're moving forward with that. So in the next 6 months or so, we'll be thrilled to have it be even better. But right now, there's definitely a lot of information on there. We try and keep things up to date regarding what's going on in our practice, but also make sure we share things that we find useful for resources for parents. There's information, you know, about different stages of life for your kids. There's different links to different online resources that we find useful as a pediatrician's office. And there's also, you know, information about the classes and workshops and everything that we're offering.
And you've given us a lot of information. If people have questions, how can they get in touch with you? You shared that information before, but share it again.
Sure, absolutely. So I am accessible via email. I'm thrilled to talk to anybody about all the things that we do at Annapolis Pediatrics and share information. And my email address is tturner, Turner, at Anna, ANNA, peds.com.
Terrific. And as we're closing, we have about a minute and a half left. Can you share any sort of plans for the future in terms of offices? You did that a little bit before, but other avenues you're looking into?
Sure. So as we're moving forward, we're always trying to find the best ways to reach out to our families and to provide the support that they need, as I said, for their kids to be happy and healthy through the years. We're going to be opening an office in Edgewater, so to reach our families that live in the southern part of the county, you know, just making things a little bit more accessible for them. We'll be there. And then, you know, we're always looking towards what's going to be the best for our families and looking to the future and on how we can provide that for them.
That's wonderful. So we can look forward to more classes, perhaps.
More partnerships with
AACPS, which will be wonderful. Well, thank you so much for being with us. You know, I think our goal is the same. We want our children to grow up to be healthy, productive, successful citizens. And I think the more that we can reach out and work together on these partnerships, the better. You know, classes in schools, classes at preschools. You know, all of it is only going to benefit our children. So thank you very much for taking the time.
Thanks for having me.
And thank you for coming on Parent Connection. And thank you for watching.